Since 2001, the Mennonite Central Committee in Indonesia has joined with Indonesian Mennonites who participate in and support a Forum for Peace across religions and groups in the city of Solo on the island of Java. So this forum, which we will call by the acronym FPLAG, that's F-P-L-A-G, we won't go through the whole name every time. FPLAG, it brings together Catholics, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, followers of Confucius, Mennonites, and other Protestants, and to work together for peace in the city of Solo. So this group does not try to come to any kind of an agreement about their religious beliefs. They know that they will never agree. Each member comes from their own religion, but they all agree. What they all agree on is that they want peace in their city. Indonesian Mennonite pastor Paulus Hartono works very hard as part of this group. And we asked Paulus one time about how he explains to Muslims and Buddhists why he as a Christian feels it's important to work alongside of people of other faiths. And Paulus said, I tell them that I am in this group working for peace because I am a Christian. This is what Christians do. We follow Jesus' example, and Jesus Christ is the Prince of Peace.
We lived in Indonesia for 12 years, and even now that we've moved on to Thailand, we still go back to Indonesia 1 or 2 times every year. So I started to keep a timeline of the changes we were seeing over time. Most MCC assignments are 1 year long, that young adult program, or 3 years long. Most people now in MCC don't get to stay year after year after year, but we got to do that. So I started keeping track of the transformation of one militant Muslim group in its relationship with Indonesian Christians and even with us as Western Christians. So in 2001, as the US was preparing to invade Afghanistan, this militant Muslim group hated all Americans and were threatening to use violence to sweep all Americans out of Central Java. And instead of hiding from these scary people at that time, this interfaith group, FPLAG, started going to the homes of the leaders of the militant Muslim group just to sit and to visit with them.
Christians, Buddhists, and Hindus started sending text messages of greeting to Muslims for their religious holidays. The interfaith group invited the most militant groups to join them in mapping the city and creating a phone network of religious leaders. So if there was any tension in any part of the city, the leaders could be called and they could quickly work to try to calm those tensions.
In 2003, this militant Muslim group had a radio station that was in conflict with a moderate Muslim radio station because they were both broadcasting at the same frequency and they were canceling each other out. So a moderate Muslim man who was part of the interfaith group knew Mennonite pastor Paulus from the interfaith group. He knew that Paulus was a peacemaker. He also knew that Paulus knew about radios because Paulus was the director of a Christian radio station. So this guy invited the Mennonite pastor Paulus to come and mediate a solution between the militant Muslim radio station and the moderate Muslim radio station so that it could be resolved without violence. And it was through that interaction that the Mennonite pastor, Paulus, first met Yanni, who was the militant commander, for the very first time. And Paulus told us the first time he met him, he was quaking. It was a scary experience, but he did it. Dan and I heard this story and we thought, this is great. MCC should write up this story. And so we asked Paulus if we could come and interview both of them. And Paulus said, there's no way Yanni would meet with you. He hates all of Americans.
So jump ahead 2 years now. In 2005, MCC partnered with Mennonite churches and others in the huge response to the tsunami that hit Aceh which is an area of about 98% Muslim people. Paulus, the pastor, invited Jeanne, the militant commander, to come along with him to the area that was so hard hit by the tsunami, and to work in a trauma healing project in partnership with MCC. Jeanne worked alongside Indonesian Christians for the very first time. It was also through that experience that the militant commander, Jeanne, met an MCC group of North American Christians for the first time. And he was moved to tears that MCC, made up of Western Christians who he had spent his life hating with a passion, would help Muslims in Aceh. So now the next year, 2006, after working together in Aceh, Jeanne invited FPOD to do a peace training back in their home city, the city of Solo.